These are signs that you have a high IQ. So studies have shown that people with large resting pupils have high fluid intelligence, likely because wider eyes indicate that more processing is happening. Research has also shown that people that actively procrastinate do so to allow their subconscious to run background simulations on the problem, and thus are actually actively solving the task leading up to the completion of it. If you use and can understand sarcasm, it's considered the highest form of intelligence, since you have to recognize the literal meaning, the intended meaning, and the social meaning all at once. Organized chaos is the natural state for many geniuses, so if you have a messy workspace but generally know where things are, then it's a potential sign of greatness. High IQ individuals are usually night owls and rebel against human biology, since they think more freely when the rest of the world is asleep. And actually talking to yourself out loud is an even greater indicator, as you're essentially externalizing your internal RAM. And finally, if you find yourself skipping steps when you're in a conversation, jump from point A to point D without explanation, congratulations, you're also likely a genius for that. Pretty cool, right? These are singers that hate their own songs. So Lorde hates Royals despite it launching her career because she says the production came from a ringtone and it's not emblematic of the artist she wanted to be. This is similar to Ariana Grande, who hates her song Put Your Hearts Up, and she even removed it from her YouTube channel because she said it felt inauthentic and too much like Cat Valentine was singing it. Kurt Cobain hated Smells Like Teen Spirit because of how mainstream it got. He would even sabotage the song during live performances and refuse to play it. This is in line with Radiohead and their hit song Creep, as the singer called it crap and refused to play it at shows. They actually hated it so badly they wrote a diss track called My Iron Lung about it. Oasis hates their most popular song Wonderwall because the lead singer Liam Gallagher is now called Mr. Wonderwall in America. Miley Cyrus hated her most popular song Party in the USA for a long time because of the lyrics, but she is said to have warmed up to it in recent years. And finally, Justin Bieber apparently hates Baby because he has to sing it all the time, but that song is iconic. These are songs that started as jokes. So Gangnam Style started as a social experiment, with Psy making fun of posers in Korea who act rich but are actually losers. It ended up being the first YouTube video to reach 1 billion views. What Does the Fox Say was made by Ylvis, who wanted to make the most anti-viral song ever by making dumb lyrics, and instead ended up with a global sensation. Seven Nation Army was a throwaway track meant to just be a fun riff, and it was even named after a mispronunciation of Salvation Army. Even the Macarena was meant to just be a playful riff and ended up as one of the most popular songs of all time. Fight for Your Right to Party by the Beastie Boys was actually written to mock frat boy culture, but it ended up getting hijacked and used unironically by frat houses and turned into a legitimate song. This is similar to Loser by Beck, which was self-described mediocrity, as he wrote the lyrics sitting in a coffee shop, and it went on to be a 90s anthem. And then finally, Blue.ID was literally written on purpose with nonsensical words just so that the song wasn't just a melody, and even flopped upon debut, but a year later it randomly exploded and hit #1 in 17 countries. It's a good song. These are the craziest special perks that you can get at places. So McDonald's offers a McGold card, which is free McDonald's for life. Every year they run a season of sharing promotion that gives you an entry to get one. Similarly, Chipotle has a celebrity card that superfans can apply for through LinkedIn applications that give you one free meal every single day for a year. If you spend more than $50,000 per year on Delta flights, you'll be invited to Delta 360, which is a 24/7 private concierge that provides for you a private Porsche to drive between gates. Crazier than this though is the Amex Black Card, which you can access after spending over $400,000 per year on their Platinum card. With this, you get a 24/7 concierge that can do anything from buying your Christmas spreads and stuffing rare sold-out items. Chick-fil-A offers a signature member tier for customers who spend over $1,000 per year that includes an all-access tour of their Atlanta office and surprise swag. And finally, Sephora's Rogue tier allows you to have a personal assistant for every time you visit, and after-hour shopping access that you can apparently get by spending over $1,000 in a calendar year. Pretty cool, right? These are the strangest ways that people have died. So the London beer flood of 1814 involved the spillage of over 100,000 gallons of beer into the streets of London, which killed 8 people. Worse than this, though, was the Great Molasses Flood in Boston, which killed 21 people in 1919 after a 25-foot wave of molasses went through the streets at 35 miles per hour. Basil Brown was a health enthusiast who actually died from drinking too much carrot juice and suffering from vitamin A toxicity. Equally ironic was a man named Jerome Rodale, who was an advocate for healthy living and actually died of a heart attack while being interviewed live, with his last words being, "I've never felt better in my life." A man named Larry Murillo got trapped in a gap in a freezer while he was working at a supermarket, but he couldn't scream for help because of the nose from the compressor fan, so he ended up dying, and he stayed there decomposing for 10 years before they found him. Less gruesome than that, though, was the playwright Tennessee Williams, who died in the hotel room after choking on a plastic bottle cap from a bottle of nasal spray. And finally, a man named Edward Archbold won a roach eating contest and ended up dying shortly afterwards because the body parts of the roach were slowly moving and ended up clogging his airways. That's crazy. These are surprising people that use social media. So despite being built on secrecy, the CIA is surprisingly active on Instagram and X, posting history, facts, trivia, and even memes. Even the Taliban has an extremely polished PR-focused X page where they post their official government decrees, infrastructure updates, and even some travel vlogs to promote tourism. Despite being against technology, there's a growing number of Amish influencers on Instagram and TikTok that post content around their lifestyle via proxies. Mount Athos monks, who also famously pride themselves on being disconnected from the outside world, regularly post on Facebook and Instagram photos of the landscape and spiritual advice. Many inmates in high-security prisons smuggled phones in to post content on Instagram and TikTok, including cooking tutorials, workout routines, and even cell tours. I don't know how they haven't been caught yet. And even the Pope has an X account where he'll regularly post Bible verses, quotes, and general reactions. And finally, there's a growing number of North Korean influencers that have been posting lifestyle content out of their country across social media, though it's speculated it's purposeful propaganda being pushed by the regime. Pretty cool, right? These are the healthiest unhealthy things. So the healthiest candy bar is actually a payday because this essentially just salted peanuts held together by a bit of caramel. It has 7 grams of protein and has decent monounsaturated fats. After this, your best bet would be a Snickers. Despite the aspartame, Diet Coke is considered the best for calorie restriction while still optimizing for taste. Though in general, root beer is actually the healthiest soda because most are caffeine-free and contain no phosphoric acid. The healthiest fast food restaurant is Taco Bell because of high protein options with their protein cantina and fresco-style menus. Otherwise, Chipotle is thought to be the healthiest because of its options to customize and to make a relatively healthy bowl. The healthiest fries are said to be from Five Guys because they're cooked in peanut oil and contain fewer additives, and the healthiest chip would technically be popcorn because you're able to have a high volume of it without a ton of calories. The healthiest alcohol is tequila because it has low sugars compared to other cocktails and hard drinks. And finally, if you're stopping at a gas station and have to get a snack, you might as well get a hard-boiled egg, a cheese stick, or beef jerky because those are by far the healthiest you'll find there. So now you know. These are things that are rapidly disappearing, so owning a driver's license has dropped about 40% in major cities as the cost and inconvenience of having it isn't worth it for younger generations, especially with public transportation and Uber. The 9-to-5 workday is nearly gone as 66% of companies now have asynchronous output work models, as well as the influence of hybrid work and AI integration. Physical banks are disappearing, with neighborhood branches reducing by 85% over the past 24 months as digital banking becomes king for convenience and visibility of funds. Human customer service is rapidly disappearing, with over 90% of first contact calls being with an AI agent before getting you in touch with the human. Non-targeted commercials are dying, with over 95% of the ads you see on social media feeds and streamers like Netflix being personalized for you. And even accents are disappearing, with people converging towards internet accents. And finally, true silence, which is defined as 15 straight minutes without a man-made noise, has effectively disappeared in 90% of national parks thanks to drones, satellites, and other noise pollution, meaning that even the quiet of the wilderness is functionally extinct. That's crazy. These are things that are surprisingly illegal that you've probably done. So buying more than 2 packs of Sudafed from your local CVS or Walgreens is technically illegal because it could contribute to the creation of illegal controlled drugs. Sharing your Netflix password is technically a felony as it's considered digital trespassing and theft of services. Opening somebody else's mail is also highly illegal even if it's accidentally delivered to you, as it's considered a federal crime. If you've ever taken a shell from a beach or home with you on a vacation from a foreign country, that's considered a theft of a protected area and can lead to jail time if done in large enough quantities. Warming up your car without you in it is considered puffing and illegal in 30 states because it involves leaving a motor vehicle unattended for too long. There's actually idling sensors being implemented by cities to mail tickets to owners that they catch. Feeding the homeless in certain cities like Houston and Fort Lauderdale is technically illegal without a city permit, with many groups getting fined thousands of dollars for doing it. And finally, knowingly posting a weather alert that's fake or misleading is considered illegal in an effort to prevent mass panic, and you can be fined or even imprisoned for 90 days if you do it. I'll take the risk though. Here you go. These are things that disappeared without explanation. So in 2014, flight MH370 involving a Boeing carrying 239 people going from Malaysia to Beijing vanished from radar mid-flight. The main components of the plane have never been found, and there's currently no strong theory as to how or why it happened. In 1587, 115 English settlers established a colony on Roanoke Island, but after their leader returned 3 years later after getting supplies, the settlement was a ghost town with the word Croatoan carved into a post, but no signs of struggle, bodies, or even houses. Nobody even has a theory as to why this happened. This is similar to the USS Cyclops, which was a Navy ship carrying over 300 people in 1918 that sailed over the Bermuda Triangle and was never heard from again, not even sending an SOS signal. The most valuable unrecoverable object in the entire world is a $250 million painting called The Concert. It was believed to be stolen as part of a wider Boston art heist in the 90s, but nobody has any idea where it went. And finally, an island called Sandy Island appeared on maps for hundreds of years in the South Pacific. However, upon sailing there in 2012, the island was no longer there, with no explanation of what could have happened. That's crazy.